He said it's going to be.
I mean, he's got an answer for everything, and it's not even a wishy-washy type of answer. He just comes right out and says what he says, and it's basically what people are eating it all up.
What he said, it's going to be a wall. He said, man, it's going to be a beautiful wall because I made the wall.
That's right.
Maybe they're going to call it eventually the Trump wall.
And they're going to put Trump on it. He puts his name on everything,
It'll be the Trump wall.
And you know what? And in every 50 or 100 miles, they could have a little casino going, and people could sit up on top and overlook the border, and then it'll pay for itself.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But the first thing we need to do is secure them with our own military. Don't put our boots on the ground in Iraq and worry about them idiots in the Middle East, because you're never going to change them anyways. You must forget about that. I don't even know where to go.
Let them kill each other off.
Unfortunately, the fighting in the Middle East has been going on for 2,500 years or more.
Let them kill
2,000 years.
Let them battle it out amongst themselves. And, somebody messes with Israel, okay, we'll go over there and help out. But Israel, believe me, can take care of herself pretty good, too. So, but if they want our help, we'll help them out.
Well,
or if they get attacked, we'll help them out. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about them. But it's stupid to do that deal they did with. Are you really somebody screaming on the street, "Death to America," and you're going to make a treaty with them? You got to be kidding me. That treaty is about as dumb as. I can't even put. Well, I don't even know if they're sending it in the House or they're trying to overturn that treaty.
And now they're talking about one of the side deals they have now in that treaty.
Oh, I heard. It just came out. They were keeping it hush hush. But Iran can police their biggest nuclear plant. Iran can police that on their own.
All right,
that whole treaty is a mess. It's almost like Obamacare. Anything that the Democrats do, it's like, well, we got to pass it first, so we'll find out what's in it. What? Are you kidding me? It's bullshit. Obamacare is a bullshit thing. I've already been to the Supreme Court a couple times, it hasn't even started to get enacted. It's just on a very lower level. Wait till the corporations and everything else have to come in on it next year when it's really kicking in. It's going to, people are going to freak out.
Well, we got another caller.
They don't even know the prize that idiot gave us, man. And the deal with Iran, that's even bigger idiot, man. It's like, what? But, the Congress and the Senate might wake up and stop it. Wait a second. Don't deal with Iran. Are you kidding me? Don't deal with the Middle East. Bring our troops home. Guard our own border. Why do you think Trump's resonating? You think anybody would be mad at that Trump thing if he said, I'm bringing the troops home tomorrow and putting them on our border? They'd all be cheering. That's what America wants.
Okay, we got one more caller on. Chad, is that you?
It is. How you doing, bro?
Hey,
okay.
Chad.
We also got Ed on from last week. Do you remember him?
Ed's down in Florida, Orlando.
His name's Ed, right?
Ed from Florida, yep. So now let's see. We have
all right, Ed.
We have a liberal here. We have I guess a libertarian. I guess that's what you would call Ed, right?
Probably.
Would you consider?
I'm more of an anti-federalist, but I am a registered libertarian because there's not an anti-federalist party. But I'm more from the Jefferson-Madison camp and the Nullification Acts of '98.
And then Chad is more...
And Ed, I'm trying to remember from last time. Did you say you're agnostic or atheistic when it comes to spiritual things?
No,
that was
definitely for Christianity. That was another guy you were talking about.
That was the other gentleman.
Oh, okay, that was a different guy.
The one who was about your age, who also had 4
Christian.
children. He had a 14-year-old, and his children were almost about the same age as your children.
Yeah,
okay.
He was the one that...
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember.
He came on and off.
Ed is the one that had problems with his phone.
No, the other one was on and off. He was Citizen X, remember? Citizen X.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, Citizen X, that's right. I remember Citizen X.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
I was raised by a Catholic mom and a atheist dad, but I consider myself.
What kind of spiritual person are you, Ed? What kind of Christian would you say you are?
more like Quaker, very more Quaker style words. They had a thing called quietist, and if you felt moved by the Spirit, you would get up and speak in church and stuff like that.
Wasn't Richard Nixon a Quaker?
Okay, but would you consider yourself more to be fundamentalist when it comes to the Bible, Protestant? You're definitely not a Catholic person, right?
Right, I'm more fundamentalist, more Quaker. The Quakers really,
okay,
but the Quakers are pacifists. They read the Bible, and they were, they didn't believe in fighting. They didn't even believe. Actually, when the Quakers settled in Pennsylvania, they used their tactics were to, get friendly some innocent Indians, and then trade with those Indians and give them extra for guarding them against other Indians.
That was the old
go into the
Sergeant,
battle spectrum. But in a way, they were still going in a battle spectrum when you think about it.
Sergeant York, the old Gary Cooper movie. Gary Cooper, when he played Sergeant York. Sergeant York was a Quaker, conscientious objector who wound up being a military hero in World War I.
Right. And I'm not like a practicing Quaker because there's not too many Quaker churches left anymore. I just kind of like their philosophy a lot. I thought that.
Sure.
I like and the Amish, and actually I was raised in Pennsylvania also, so that's a Quaker state, and I lived at one time.
No, that's an oil.
My friends and I had a little farm. We had a little farm, and we lived right next to a couple of Amish families. They horse and buggies, and they're still doing the same thing. They had their little thing. They get their Bible meetings. I think it's really beautiful. They live off the land, and and they believe in God, and it's a wonderful thing.
And they have pretty good food also.
Right, good food, and they go to the little markets, and we used to go to markets with them. We'd buy their Amish pies.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
There's a lot. Christianity. This is a very Christian country. It's like what's funny from being my mom's Catholicism and my dad's atheism. I actually, because from being a political activist from way back, it was about 1970. Impeach King Nixon and the war, Vietnam, it's right from that generation. But I started reading more about the founding fathers and the Bill of Rights and stuff like that. And actually, people like Sammy Adams and other people that were born about Christians. I said, you know what? There's some really good about Christians that made these people, and George Mason and Patrick Henry Lee, they get together, go to churches together when they, in their states, whenever they met during the constitutional conventions and stuff, and they had prayer all the time. I says, if it's good enough for my founders, it's good enough for me, and it's like, Jesus, whole thing.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. I'm just trying to get to know you as all, and I hate to give you the 20 questions, but if you're fundamentally flawed in an area, I'd like to try to help you understand the Bible. But it sounds like you're a pretty fundamental guy yourself, so there's probably no concern there. But it's our job, as you know, to really make sure that we're sharpening iron, and we're making sure we're keeping people accountable for their faith claims. I was just curious, in your opinion, there's a very popular inclusion ideology that says that all religions, at least in the Christian religions, kind of lead to the same place. Do you find that's true, or do you think that's false? Hello?
I think we lost him. He may be back. But,
we did lose him. That's like last time. We did lose him, I think.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't lose it. We lost Citizen X last time. Trust me, we lost Citizen X.
I think that he was the one that got lost, and then he called back.
Exactly.
I think Ed was the one that called back.
Okay, whatever.
Citizen X never got off. Fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah, he did.
Citizen X.
But it doesn't make a difference.
I don't mean that. Yeah, it to me, it's more important that people understand the truth. And actually, Jesus tells us that they're going to hate what you have to say, because when you speak the truth in love, of course, you don't want to be mean to anybody. But when you're speaking the love and boldness and truth, people will steer away from that. So I take it as, well, when somebody doesn't like what you have to say, typically they won't call back. And hey, that's something that God is going to hold them accountable. I don't have anything to do with that. My job is just to put stones in someone's shoe. And by the way, since we have this moment, guys, I wanted to clear up a couple things. I went back and just listened to some old broadcasts that I was on. The reasoning for that is because I wanted to hear if I had made any mistakes myself, and sure enough, I caught a couple mistakes that I made personally, and I want to address it.
You don't make mistakes.
I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if it's because I didn't hear you very well, Mark, but you were asking questions quite a few weeks ago when we were discussing. You were asking questions about Lazarus. Remember, I read the scriptures there in John's Gospel. It was about Lazarus being raised from the dead by Jesus. Mm-hmm. Well, you had asked a very important question. You said, if the people hadn't been Christians, do you think Jesus still would have done that? Now, the way I answered that question was, I believe that they were saved. But I was only implying about Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. I was not including the hundreds of other people that probably were there. No, not everybody that was in Lazarus' family there for the funeral was saved. In fact, that was one of the reasons why Jesus did it, so that people can see the miracle and believe. So to answer your question that you had several weeks ago, would Jesus still perform a miracle like this in front of a family and friends that were not even saved? The answer to that is yes, he would have, and he did.
Well,
and the reasoning for that is so that people would believe on him.
Well, Chad, he also did that just before his crucifixion. The last miracle that he performed was when he took the mud and rubbed it in the blind man's eyes, and he said, okay, now stand up and, basically, you can see. And he did that in front of everybody.
Right.
Okay, that was his last miracle, actually.
Well, I don't. You could be right about that. I have to look at that. I know he did several miracles that are not even recorded. John tells us. One of the gospel writers tells us that there are so many more miracles that he did, but that are not recorded in this book. So as far as we know, Jesus did thousands of miracles that are not even recorded in this book. But I would say you're right. He did it in front of people that were not saved. Of course, he did these miracles so that people would believe on him. He knew their hearts. He wanted to show his deity and his power. He wanted to show people they could trust him. And he also wanted to confirm that he was the one to come to save them from their sins. And a lot of the times, Mark, what it would be an object lesson. So, for instance, when let's say, for instance, he cured the blind person, okay, he gave him sight. Well, what is the spiritual implication of that? That we are spiritually what?
I don't know.
What do you think the answer is? Well, if he's using an object lesson, if Jesus is using an object lesson, and he cured a blind person, what do you think that might imply spiritually?
We're spiritually
that we are what?
We're searching, we're blind. Looking, that we ourselves are blind.
That's right. Very good. And I think Felix said it first, but you're both right. Okay, that we are spiritually blind, and Jesus is the only one who can open blind eyes. Now, that doesn't mean that Jesus was uncompassionate towards the poor and the lame and the blind and the deaf. Of course he was. He loved them all.
And he was
but
also,
he was using them as an object lesson.
Ed is back. But it's also...
Okay, great.
When you say that, Jesus also said that a prophet is often not known in his own home. When he came back to Bethlehem,
he's completely rejected.
I mean, they constantly referred to him as the carpenter's son, blah blah blah. And it wasn't until he also made I forgot the name of the old blind man who knew him when he was a little boy.
Yeah.
And
right.
As he was leaving, the people were saying, they were almost goading him and saying, well, give him sight. And he didn't want to do it that way. He wanted to do it in quiet, and he didn't want to make a big fuss about it, or a big show. And as he was leaving, that was when he actually gave him sight.